Vox was anxiously staring at his statistics. Sure, since Alistair came back, the decline of the V brand was only noticeable with a magnifying glass, but it was still a decline that he noticed. Yes, up and downs were normal, and this could just be a regular down. Still, he was humiliated by Alistair. Something he could not allow. Ever. The TV demon had all set up perfectly, after all, since Alistair vanished. So why was this happening now? Vox was an outwardly very calm and collected demon, but deep inside he suffered from immense anxiety, brought upon him by his own strive for perfection. His outbursts mounting since that song had ruined everything. At least, that's what he felt like. That's what he saw as his entire reputation. Even though it was but a blip. This culminated into a meeting with the other Vs, plus someone else. An appreciated sight that he hasn't seen in a while. Talking to him like an overgrown baby, Velvet and Valentino sat him down on his chair at the top of the table. Voxy, baby, this is, well, I'm not sure if the word intervention would be right. No, it's, Intervention? Shouted the TV demon, interrupting Valentino as he jumped up. I don't need a fucking The fourth party at the table, you, interrupted him by loudly clearing your throat, causing Vox to inhale deeply and sit back down. Velvet rolled her eyes. Disinterested, she pulled out her phone. Sweetie, why are you doing that? Asked Valentino, and she scoffed. Ugh, that bitch is the only one who can reach Vox when he's like this. So what the fuck should I do? I don't care. I just pretend I didn't hear that, growled Vox angrily, causing the demoness to smile ever so slightly. It happened 4 years ago when you, one of Valentino's girls, had been sent to Vox for some relaxation. Since then, it was only you he requested. You were a misery. Miseries were relatively common sinner-born demons, with a perfect 50-50 ratio of male to female. Your bodies taking on an almost human form in hell. All your kind were tall, yet thin. As a matter of fact, Vox only just barely reached your chin. And even Valentino just managed to reach your nose. Your neck-long, shiny black hair, like all of your keen, gray, squishy skin. You had black, void-like eyes that looked like endless holes into darkness. It was a mystery even to you how you could see with them, as they functioned normally. Your mouth was wide, with 2 rows of sharp teeth, and you had a voluptuous body despite how thin it was. Originally, Val wanted to put you into a shit ton of emo GFJOI videos for internet-addicted demons who were lonely, but on the day you had signed Val's contract, Vox had requested some female attention for stress relief, using that as a sort of employment test you had been sent. And since then, it was more like Vox at your soul rather than Valentino. You were not allowed, by the TV demon, to do any flicks with the Moth demon. Though, that was something you easily accepted. It was like getting paid just to woo a singular guy. Your name in hell was Shadow Dancer, as it was customary with miseries that Shadow was the first name, followed by an activity they liked or disliked. The amount of demons named Shadow Hunter or Shadow Drinker were quite humorous. But this was merely a sign as to how tight-knit your kind were with each other, which was uncommon for demons. It was all thanks to the shared laziness of your kind that you didn't form any powerful gangs anywhere in hell. "And where have you been?" Raising both hands to prevent conflict, you calmly said, "I was at Zestial's." The Overlord? Vox's screen flickered angrily as he was imagining you writhing beneath the spider demon. "Before you flip a switch, Voxy, they didn't do anything. I just sent her because Zestial's right hand is a misery too. As such, it was tactically better to send her," interjected Valentino, who then turned his attention on you. "Tell him what you told me, Shadow Baby." You rolled your eyes. "Well, Velvet," you hissed, causing her to look up from her phone for only a second before scoffing, and then continuing to scroll through her social media. "Pissed off a whole bunch of overlords during their last meeting, specifically Zestial. And to avoid him retaliating, Val sent me to calm the old man down." "And what did you do with him?" Vox's claws scratched impatiently over the wood of the table. "Nothing! As I said, I just sat in his office, listening to him drone on and on about how disrespectful the younger generation is." Ugh. Val chuckled. "And now tell him how you got us out of the situation." You sighed deeply. I asked him to tell me a story from when he was a young overlord. You know, I asked to learn from the better generation." "Shadow, you've been gone for 2 weeks!" shouted Vox. Your lips quivered as you stood up. "I know!" That was the only thing you said, and it took the TV demon a few minutes of realization. He just sat there, his angry expression slowly turning into amusement. Oh! He leaned back against his chair. "And of course I couldn't go. Sire, it's been 3 days. Can I go now?" In the middle of an old man telling me the story of when they threw a German dictator into a group of angels to save his own skin. Vox blinked and then snorted. In fact, the whole table burst out into violent laughter at your misery. It took everyone a full 3 minutes to calm down. And then Vox sighed. Oh, Shadow. He looked down at his hands with a weird smile. He had missed you. Your presence alone made him feel lighter. Something Val and Velvet noticed. Rolling her eyes, the demoness typed something into a messaging app, causing your phone to go off. And as Valentino spoke up, you read it, making you snicker. "Anyways, Voxy baby, this isn't an intervention as already mentioned, it's more of a get your shit together thing." Velvet finally had enough. "I'm not your mommy, Vox. Neither of Val is your daddy." She paused in her rant as her eyes met Valentino's, whose grin had widened the moment she had said the last word. Luckily, though, the moth knew when to keep quiet. "We don't want to deal with your outburst no more. It's fucking annoying that this bitch has to be there for you, so you act like your old fucking self." "So what, Velvet?" hissed Vox. Ah, she groaned. Just give him that piece of paper already. Reluctantly, Valentino sighed. So that everything goes smoothly, I'm officially giving you, Voxy, Shadow Dancer's contract. Ugh, and it hurts me so much. The moth demon was gnashing his teeth. So far, you had been a good way to get what he wanted out of Vox, and so it hurt him losing you. You can't just do that? Well, if all parties agree, of course. Vox swiped the contract off of Valentino, quickly reading over it. His eyes then moved up to look at you. I see. Val leaned over, pointing at a few dotted lines. I just need you to sign here to take her over, and it'll give you total control over our little dancer here. Sign there, and there, and there. Good. And now she's yours, Voxy. You winced. You could quite literally feel your soul passing over. It was a gross, slimy feeling that was completely taking over your body for but a moment. And with a snap of his fingers, the contract vanished. Well, well, well. You're mine now. Yes, and now that you got your personal chew toy back, stop being a goddamn whiny baby. I think we got the message, Velvet Baby. Vox's fingers snapped for a second time, and both him and you were instantly gone from the room. Where the fuck are they going? Valentino snickered in response. What? He could have at least said something. Musing, Val shook his head. Oh, do you really want to know whenever the boss is gonna pound her? Oh. Yeah, let's just get back to work, shall we, Velvet? Teleporting with Vox was always such a hassle. It was like being pressed through a narrow tube at hyperspeed. This was due to how it worked for him as a TV demon. With his powers, he could turn anyone temporarily into electricity, so right now you quite literally were shot through the cables going through the V headquarters. Until, unceremoniously, you were spit out by the large, flat-screen TV in Vox's penthouse at the top floor. Face first, you slammed into a sofa. You should slow down on the highway, Shadow, he mused. You grunted into the soft fabric. Vox looked down at you. He was already sitting on it. Everything okay? I think I broke my nose, you said while pulling your face off of the cushion. Vox leaned forward, and then violently grabbed your nose, pulling at it. A loud and incredibly painful crunch, indicating that he pulled it back into place. You almost vomited from the pain. Suppressing tears, you tried standing up. Somehow, on wobbly legs, you managed to sit opposite to Vox on a separate sofa. See? You're fine, Shadow. Yeah. Your eyes burn from the pain of keeping it in. It will take a few minutes for your body to regenerate that damage. In the meantime, Vox got up and walked over to his collection of liquors. What would you like, Shadow? He asked casually. Something to suppress that pain. He chuckled. You loved it when you were in pain. His fingers tapped over the bottles. He knew what you liked, though your tastes in alcohol were quite different. While his taste buds were thoroughly corrupted over the decades, you still had issues with stuff that truly burned. Of course, he owned your soul now, so there wasn't really any harm in completely destroying you, and yet that wasn't really what he wanted to do with you. What we had of you was special, or very close to being special. Even if the first time the two of you were together, it was all about doing the deed, with no real goal in mind. But by now, a sort of uneasy trust had awoken inside of him, and he didn't really know how to express it. He hated it, and yet he loved it. He loved you. His eyes darted over to you. You were looking into a little hand mirror as you were inspecting your nose. Liquid was coming out of it. An interesting fact about your demon kind was that your blood had the taste and consistency of human tears. As such, it never was really a huge issue when you bled. Another reason he liked you so much. He could be as rough with you as he wanted, and after about an hour, the stain was gone on their own, as your blood quite literally was just water. Finally, he chose the right bottle. Taking 2 glasses, he walked back to you. So, he mused as he filled them. Shadow. His lips perked up before his screen flashed excitedly. Grabbing one of the glasses, he waited for you to take the other, and then clanking them together. For a long and deep partnership. You smiled, immediately downing the concoction. It was Vox's disgusting booze. It would burn your throat no matter what. So closing your eyes and downing it in one go, that was the best option here. He leaned back once his side was empty. Using this opportunity, you got up, stepping next to him, knowing how he liked it when you sat down on his lap. Your fingers sliding against the plastic of his screen face. He hummed happily. He liked feeling your weight. Well, someone is getting a little frisky. I mean, you know me, Voxy. I'm always ready to breed. He placed a hand on your chin. His grip was a little tight and just barely allowed you enough movement to speak. Tell me, Shadow, I so rarely had a slut that just did what I requested with so much enthusiasm. A little bit of salvia ran down his mouth at the thought he was having. Even Val thinks I treat my staff a little too hard. With one quick pull, your face was pushed into his. He kissed you violently, sucking in your mouth and biting down on your tongue as you quickly pushed past his lips. The pain was making your mind melt, and you fully embraced him, allowing Vox full access to your luscious body. For a moment, however, you separated, as his digits dug into the flesh of your ass. Do you really want to know? You could. And then Vox pushed you down into the sofa cushions. Not really, just some small talk, but now you make me curious. You hummed, grabbing his tie, pulling him down to you until your foreheads touched. I just like the thought of being owned. Smirking, you licked his cheek, the static of his screen tickling over your tongue. And you know how to own me. Yeah, now I own you, baby. For a moment, however, he wanted to ask why you liked being owned, but his eyes fell upon your hands, which were quickly unhooking the already barely covering clothes you were wearing. His screen flickered to a rainbow test screen before switching back to his normal face, He was completely blinded by your lewdness, and as such proceeded to push his entire weight on you. Yeah, I own you, you worthless dog toy. He hissed into your ear, making you groan. And now, squeak for me. Thank you for watching my video until the very end. But before I say goodbye, I would like to say a personal thank you to all of my darling butlers and darling stewards for being wonderful members of my channel. We have Anonymous Weep, Sleepy Town, Angel, Zachary, Nicodemus D, Ash Wisdom, The Tribute, and AJ Anime Girl. Your support is greatly appreciated, as well as the support of all of my wonderful darling mates. And again, thank you for watching and thank you for your support. Goodbye.